think Trip's paying attention?
Mm-mm.
We live, Trip.
Ready, buddy?
You think so?
Just inside on this rainy day.
Yeah, it's a little rainy. So what are we gonna talk about today?
It's midway through the season.
It's been an exciting season. It's been some close racing.
Very close racing.
It's actually been really cool. You know, Wade making that mistake, that Wildcat, you know, gave some of the other guys, but then Brandon and Daniel and some of the other guys have also made some mistakes. So it's kept it pretty tight all year.
Yeah, I've never been to West Virginia, but the videos from last year is lots of big rock.
It's a lot of big rock, some rock ledges, some step ups. But anyway, welcome guys. We're halfway through the season, so we figured we'd stop and talk about how we got where we're at with the top three for each cup class. Something we normally don't have time to do, but we decided to try to get that done today. And we're going to, I guess, critique some footage and see how these drivers compare to each other throughout the season. So what we did, we took the top three from each race of the season. So the top three drivers that are standing in the top three right now, halfway through the season, we took those runs, or one of those runs from each event for the UTV Cup class and the Bouncer Cup class. And we're going to play them, talk about them, show you guys how tight some of the races are sometimes. And it's pretty neat to see where some of these guys make up ground or lose ground.
Yeah.
You know, in some of these, they'll pass each other more than once back and forth on the course compared to where they were relative. So we did our best to try to get them lined up really good, and we're going to play some of those and see what you think. First, we're going to talk about Windrock UTV Cup. Let's check it out.
Long courses.
Yeah, it's some long courses. We left a little bit of audio in there for you. Hopefully it sounds decent. But you know, Clay Kaysen is leading the UTV Cup class right now. Cooper sitting in second, and Mac Myrick has consistently earned his way to the third spot, which is, you know, he's just been consistent. But you see where some of these are so close. You see where the step ups and things like that, some of them do a better job than the others on it.
Yeah, some of the buggies just react. Some better. Some of them are better turning. Some of them better, you know, take the lick. Some of them can in the down. You know, this down.
And that, you know, yeah, that's where Cooper kind of got a little bit of a lead on the downhill. And you know, again, it's pretty cool to see him pushing that hard on it for sure. Yep. And that's where Cooper messed up, and Clay took the lead.
Look, there's Matt catching up.
And then, and then there's Matt catching up to him because of Cooper making the mistake. So it again, it's pretty neat to see each little mistake or hiccup or the better spot that people, you know, got the throttle control right and things like that. So it's just really neat to see the differences on them. But
it's real close though, so sometimes those lines are very, very, very.
Yeah, we've got some runs in here where those three are less than a second between all three of them, and it's pretty cool to see where those are so tight and compare them. But that was Windrock. Let's take a peek at Wildcat round 2 for the UTV Cup. This was a pretty long course, you know.
Same guys here again. That first step up got people's head.
Cooper actually got to the top first right there. Ahead of Clay, but just barely.
Their downhills are just amazing.
You know, a lot of times that's where they make it or break it is on the down. And that's where Cooper got ahead of him, is on that down right there. Actually right there at the top of that going up, but he didn't quit pushing coming down for sure.
Matt's starting to figure that buggy out. I know he had several issues with it and several trailer accidents, but that buggy, it's just he's finally getting the feel of it.
He is, and then I think he stepped up in horsepower somewhere during the season and had to learn how to do that again.
You can tell too, though.
Yeah, and he's getting more comfortable with it. You can tell that he's getting a lot more comfortable with it for sure. So it
makes a big difference in
cool.
confidence when you pull up there to the race and knowing your stuff. You put in the time and got it right and spent the time to get it there on the boxes.
Where'd we go next? Hot Springs.
Hot Springs over there.
Let's check out Hot Springs. So this course was probably not as long, and these guys stayed pretty tight on a lot of this course.
This had lots of long downhills in it.
That downhill all the way to the left over there, none of it was rough at Hot Springs. None of it, I don't consider Hot Springs very tough at all over there. But we did come down that center section, and they had to check up on it. But like on some of those ups right there, where some of those guys will jump the gaps, and some of them don't. All of that stuff makes a difference.
Clay and Cody are just side by side, pretty much.
Clay and Cooper. Yeah, they're definitely pushing it to the edge right there. That's where Clay pulls a little bit ahead on that downhill. But yeah, they're within a couple of seconds right there, maybe a second. It's fixing to show us the times. Yeah, not even a second apart right there.
Yep.
That's pretty wild, and that seems to be the theme this year. Just so close.
Yep. I mean, you saying close, it's like super close. I mean, it's not, I barely beat him. It's like,
I think it was one of the bouncers, maybe at Fiddler's Bend, like we had like 5, 6, 7 people that were all
the same numbers.
Same
I
number.
remember, yeah.
It was pretty cool. So next we go to Rush Off Road for the anniversary badge. Let's check that one out. This one, Matt took a little bit of a different line than the other two. He took a conservative line to the left that cost him a little bit of time, but not much. I mean, he's still right there with them. Matter of fact, him and Cooper made the turn right there at the same time. And they're all still within seconds right there. Clay made up some time coming down that last step. So Cooper and Clay are still really close right there.
Yeah.
And Matt's not far behind them. And there's some of these guys are DNF. Because they're pushing to the edge. If I remember right, I think Cooper DNFs at the last event. So it let the others gain some ground on it.
Over in the corner.
And it was just a fluke mistake, but I think, Cooper come out on that one, and Matt was in second on that one, and then Clay in third. So, but just not even 3 seconds apart between all of them. That's pretty wild.
That was round 4, so we got round 5.
Yeah, and the other thing that we don't have video or whatever is you also have the other guys that are consistently pushing at the top that bump these guys down. So these aren't always the top 3 for each race. They're just the ones that's been consistent enough to get top 3 halfway through the season. So you got to keep in mind, you have some of the other guys that get in there and podium and do really well. And we may, we're hoping to find some time to start doing that after every race and critiquing each one of these runs and seeing where these guys are making differences. This is one of the things that the drivers that are always up there, they're the ones spending the time looking at the videos.
You have to.
Finding where they're making the mistakes, finding where the other guys are getting ahead of them. and trying to improve those. I know a lot of the drivers do that. So
especially if you're at the back of the pack on say hill one, I mean you need to be paying close attention to whatever's going on to see what little edge you can get. And I hear them in the pits and stuff talking all the time, and they'll get there Thursday, they'll race on Friday, and some of them like to go pre-run, and then I hear them say, "Man, don't take that line over there when you're pre-running because I've got it saved." You know what I mean? And they're like,
you hear a lot of the good information I don't hear.
Yeah, so they're like, don't when you're pre-running, don't hit that jump over like that and cross jump it. That's where we need to hit it in the race. And I'm thinking, and you go out there and I'll be paying attention, and then somebody else will hit it, and they're like, "He's gonna run it for us, man. He's gonna run it, man. I had it picked out. How did he know that?" There'd be two separate groups of people, that are talking about it. It's funny to get the strategy the day before and just see if it's.
Somebody that's really good at that is Tim Cameron.
Yep.
He's good about studying the course, but not letting the others know what he's looking at and what he's paying attention to. And he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Most of those guys at the top, that's how they're doing it. They're not pre-running. They're just studying the course and seeing where they can find that edge. Because at the end of the day, a quarter of a second will win or lose the race at this point. Like, it's that tight sometimes.
I just tried to make up something, tell them I was going to do it. I'm just scared. I'm going to hit that. And the whole time, don't even had to think about hitting it. You just tell them you're going to hit it.
So where are we at now? We at round 5?
Yep. Let's
check it out. So we're at Fiddler's Bend, new park, great park, awesome place to be. And I think this is one of them that keeps it pretty close.
Really fast course for everybody.
This was a fast course. The weather was really rough on us. But yeah, this is I believe this is where Cooper just made a rookie mistake.
Right here, I think. Yep, there it is. Boom.
And it cost him. It cost him a lot of points. But you see Clay messed up as well and had to back up.
Back up at the top of the hill, sure did.
And that gave Matt a chance to get ahead. But then here comes Clay, now he's pushing hard. Now he's upset and he's pushing hard. And the crazy thing is, I see a lot of drivers do that. They'll make a mistake, and then they'll drive even closer to the edge.
Their whole driving style.
They'll change their whole driving style.
Nick Wright's a lot like that.
He is.
Nick is a lot like that.
He is.
When I say a mistake, he may have a slight bob on something, not make the turn like he knew he wanted to make it, and it is just look out.
And you see that. I'm pretty sure we see some of that in some of these comparisons. But that's one course from the first 5 events for the UTV Cup class. You'll be able to go back and watch these and look at them. We'll probably post these individually as well. If you're watching on Rock Racing TV, we'll try to get them posted so that people can see how close this stuff is.
That's cool, and y'all putting in a lot of time and effort. The guys behind the scenes are putting this for these guys, so I would take advantage in looking at it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that all the drivers have access to all the content so that they can go back and study and try to find how to make a better pass. But sometimes when they're looking for those little shortcuts or those little ways to get over a jump, sometimes it works for them, sometimes it don't.
You guys got to see how your suspension is going to do it, so you'll know when you're out there looking at the next course. Hey, when I used to be able to hit something like this, my buggy's going to do this or it's going to do that, or it may put my these are all a lot of these are homemade chassis, so it may not be right if you done tore it up and wrecked it, and every time I hit something, this pulls me to the right. So when you have to adjust every bit of that to your driving skills.
Exactly, and they all don't handle everything the same.
No.
These drivers, they got obviously a lot of talent, but they know their rig, so they may not have as much experience in somebody else's rig, so it's not as easy for them.
Right.
Just a good example is Nick Wright runs air shocks, ORIs.
Mm-hmm.
And, him or maybe somebody else, there's not many. I know Jake Pike, a lot of his rigs run it.
That's right.
But those machines perform and react totally different than somebody with triple bypass.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's not a good thing. Like, sometimes they want it to jump a ledge and not soak a ledge up. So you know, that comes into play when they're studying the courses, trying to make changes to hit the course the way they think they want to hit the course for the fastest time.
Yeah.
One of the events that we're fixing to show you, you see a line that Nick took and nobody else took it on round one, and it didn't work exactly right for him because he went a little too far right.
Yep.
But if it would have worked, it was a boatload of time for him.
Just 4 or 5
And
seconds.
it forced everybody else to do it on round two.
Yep.
And then he pushed even harder on round two because now he didn't give away a secret.
That's what I was, yeah.
And it still went too far right, but he tried to clear double edge at that point. So it's pretty cool to see how that, you know, affected the race. So let's check out round one. We're going back to Windrock for the bouncer class. Let's look at it. Now this will be Wade, Cooper, and Nick, which is the top 3 for the standings right now in the season. I mean, you also, some of these races you'll see just coming out of the start line, a big difference. I think Hot Springs is one of them. You see Wade get over the jump, you know, a little bit quicker than the other two, and I'm like, wow, it's crazy how much he gained just right out of the gate. But you see Cooper and Wade are almost neck and neck right here, but then Wade stayed on the ground, gained a little bit right there, not much, but just a little bit, where Cooper come off the ground.
And then watch Nick catch him on top.
And then Nick didn't make the turn quite as well, but then Nick comes across the top and starts making some headway, but not quite enough to get back in front of him.
That jump right there with Nick.
Yeah, I mean, he's right back down there on him. And look at the times, you know, 55, 56, and 56. Not even a second between first and third right there. You know, so those guys are right there, less than a second between them. 55, 56, and 56. Is that not crazy?
It's crazy.
After, you know,
to see them side by side, and I don't
yeah.
know how you can go back and hardly critique your run. You know?
Yeah, you know, but like where Nick checked up on that turn and the other two didn't. He left a second on the table.
Yeah.
And if he wouldn't have, then obviously it would have been a different outcome because he was able to finish the rest of that course faster than they did. So it's, you know, it's pretty cool to see the comparison on it. Let's check out Wildcat. Again, this is a pretty long course here. This is one of those where Wade did really good on this round, but he DNF'd on the other one.
Oh yeah.
You know, so he wasn't in top 3 for the event, but he's still holding on to second place.
He wanted to win the hill no matter what.
Correct. So Wade made that turn quicker than the others. Nick just now getting to the top. But Wade's coming off the step now. Cooper's just now getting to the step.
Look how violent that is coming down that way. Just hitting those.
Wade, you know, Wade is obviously known for pushing on the edge for sure.
Right there, he's out the gas.
Well, yeah, this is where he made a mistake on round one, turned over, DNF'd, and he was, you know,
something to prove.
He had something to prove on round 2, and he did. You know, he just walked off and leaves the other ones on round 2. And sometimes his driving on the edge style works for him, and sometimes it don't. And that's what got him on round 1.
He is a driver, like you're saying, like that. So, you know, in the back of his mind, he knew that he made that mistake on hill 1.
But it was only event 2.
Yeah, look where he's at now.
And this, you know, Nick making a mistake and having to back up. You know, that's the stuff that drives them crazy, and they try to go back and find it. But, you know, they're spread out 8, 9, 10 seconds apart right there.
Oh, yeah.
But again, Wade knew that was only round 2, so at that point, he's got to play the long game.
Yeah, he's wanting.
And some drivers are good at playing the long game.
Yeah, it's just all in strategy and how you can take it.
You know, a DNF, you could, if no, you know, because it's very rare that everybody finishes all 22 courses throughout the season.
Right.
So a DNF puts you 40 points behind right out of the gate, makes it really tough. So if the ones that are in the lead don't make a mistake all year, can just finish or even be in the top 5, most times they'll be in the top 3 at the end of the year.
It's just you don't push too hard ever. You just push hard enough to be in the mix.
And some drivers are good at that, and some of them aren't. You know, just for example, last year Cooper had gotten in the lead, and we got to pretty place. He just made a simple mistake with a rock, flopped it over, you know, and at that point he's back to chasing the points.
Yep.
You know, but he and I think it was Timmy made a mistake or had a failure at Hawk Pride, if I remember right. They gave Cooper an opportunity to get in the lead.
Step up.
So let's check out the next one.
Hot Springs.
This is Hot Springs. So this is, you know, you see how Wade got over that jump quicker than the other ones? You know, I don't know if it's horsepower or his driving style, but just out of the gate, he was able to gain probably a second or so, getting to that turn and starting up that hill before the others. This is where I think Nick got in the trees a little bit going up, but him and Cooper were close. But you see Wade slowly pulling away on this one.
To the turn too there.
Yep. And this is where, if you watch, this is where Nick tries to shoot this gap. And if it would have worked, it would have made a huge difference. But it was too far to the right.
Yep.
It shot him to the right when he hit it, and he had to correct it, obviously, which cost him a lot of time. Probably didn't cost him a whole lot of time compared to just stepping up it. But nobody else, to that point, nobody else had tried that that day. And of course, those several tried it on round two. But that hiccup, you know, it cost Nick a lot of time. Let's see where they landed. So again, 76, 84, and 92. It's pretty wild.
Yep. It's who can. It's also who can keep them together. You know what I mean? When
100%.
When you're, you know, I think we were at Fiddler Bend. You know, I remember Wade. You know what I mean? Having a problem. So I mean, if you go home and you're rough on it and you don't check it, you know, I think put a third member.
Well,
stuff
Cooper, Wade had to borrow a third member from Cooper
Yep.
to run at Fiddler's Bend, and Cooper had to come up with an axle that 1 week between Rush and Fiddler's Bend.
He said Brandon hooked him up though, had him on the shelf.
And but yeah, so you know, Wade had to text Bentley's and be like, "Hey, you got a third member I can borrow?" And that's the side of the sport to me that is just amazing. The fact that they'll loan it to Wade because they want to beat him on the track. They do not want to beat him from a DNF or, you know, a malfunction. They want to outdrive him. They don't want to win that way. And that's something that, you know, has just been there since day one in our sport.
Oh yeah.
So that was Hot Springs. I guess we'll check out anniversary badge at Rush for the bouncers. I wish we had Daniels in there compared to where Daniel landed right there.
Oh, man, that's where he hit that. That's where he got a little excited, hit that flag.
He sent it, and he didn't realize he was that far up the hill. But yep, so Cooper and Nick and Wade pretty much all turned downhill right at the same time right there.
Looks
Like they're still.
Nick's in the touch of the lead here.
Nick is in the lead right here. This is where Nick's pushing really hard. And this was, you know, the step up.
That's interesting. You see Nick, the only one hard goes to the left of it. Everybody else goes to the right side.
Well, Cooper went to the left too.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Look at that save right there with Wade did.
And Nick and Wade got to the top fairly close to each other. And I don't remember which one, but Nick had something happen up top that bucked him pretty good. But yeah, this one Cooper falls behind a little bit. But that step up was, you know, a lot of people DNF'd on that step up. So just finishing that course, you know, helped a lot of people out that were able just to finish it. I guess I forgot to put times.
We could tell, but you know, like you say, really close there again. Wade edging them out just a little bit.
Yep. But it that step up on round one, you know, a lot of people had a DNF there, so it, you know, it obviously affected it. and then we made some changes to make it a little bit easier
Easier on the second hill.
on the second round, because you know the UTVs. And what was crazy was Casey Howell. Is that who it was?
Yep, every time.
I mean,
Every
he
time.
never went to the side. He went straight up the bank and showed them twice how to do it, and made it look easy. Made it look like a driveway. And it's crazy to watch a UTV make it look like a driveway, and then the bouncers
buggies
struggle
have so
and
much
struggle and
trouble.
struggle. You know, but he was probably the only one that made it look easy.
He just squared it up and just hit
Was it one of the bouncers actually squared it up and did pretty good? Gibbs. Jonathan Gibbs.
He got locked down. Gibbs had a really good day that day. I think he was actually tied for third at the end of the day between him and Nick.
I think you're right.
And,
I think Nick got the tiebreaker because he was.
he went and got a hot dog or something down at the sesh stand.
Yeah, he was up there joyriding. I don't know what he was doing. And everybody else is like, "Where'd that come from?" You know.
But it's good to see those buggies and do that kind of tight stuff.
And I think, if I remember right, he did it. Did he go up the bank twice, or did he go to the side?
Yeah, I know the first time he went straight on.
You know, and that was one of those situations. You know, Wade got a lot of spotlight for how he climbed it and used the rear steer, and you know, was like acrobatic going up the hill.
Yeah,
it was pretty wild. I don't remember if it was round 1 or round 2, but I think it was round 1. So that was pretty wild. So that brings us to Fiddler's Bend, which is where we're at. That takes us halfway the season. Let's check it out. I don't remember if these guys were really close, but again, you can see on those, they all came over the jumps, you know, really close. This one, they stayed pretty tight. Wade made the turn back down. Nick's next, and Cooper's a little behind. There's Wade making the turn and pulling away from him. And this one shows where Wade actually does really well on these step-ups. He keeps it on the ground and keeps it moving forward, where, you know, the others are getting a little air or not getting it just right, and then having to spin out the top of it and costing them some time.
Yeah, once you get the chassis out of whack, you know, I mean, it's going the wrong way. It's a lot.
Wade absolutely showed out on that one, and then, you know, done his donut, and
that's his signature move at the end.
Yep, his little donut.
Dustin Medley still got the best one at Hot Springs.
He's got the best finish line. He's got the best finish performance at Hot Springs. That was, you know, that was impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he was sliding upside down, and when it almost came to a stop, the front tire come down and touched the ground, and he still had enough know about and whereabouts to just bump the throttle and pull it back over on his tires. You know, and there was so much dust that a lot of people, I don't even know that seen it in the live feed, but it was impressive.
Yes,
you know, it was very impressive to know that you're sliding upside down in the rocks, know where you're at, see the tire touch the ground, and use that to flip it back over. Anyway, what else you got?
Just getting ready for I'm excited about going to West Virginia.
West Virginia, you know, that's a beautiful part of the country. I think it's called the New River Gorge area. So, you know, that's.
Isn't there rafting up that way?
There is. A couple of years ago, we went rafting because we went from there to Pennsylvania for an Ultra 4 event to do production. But it's an amazing place. So that's one of them. If you do have time to show up a couple days early or stay a couple days late, it's worth it. It's worth going and checking out some rafting and
join. Maybe everybody can come a day earlier too.
I think a lot of people are. I don't know that I'll be able to get there early, but I think a lot of the guys are going early. They've rented boats and they're going to hang out at the lake there and enjoy, because you know it's summertime, so it's vacation time, right?
I'm ready to get on the lake myself.
Are you going early to West Virginia?
Whoever will give me a ride, I'll be thumbing it. So listen, if you coming through here and want to pick me up, I'll be ready to go. Bags packed. And just don't forget, you know, today's Memorial Day. That's we're very blessed to be able to go and do this kind of things.
Remember the reason for the day.
That's right.
You know, a lot of times holidays get forgotten about from retail or whatever, and it's always important to stop and remember why these holidays exist and why we have what we have, for sure.
That's right.
It gives us the ability to go and race and do what we love.
That's right.
Tripp says he's going to get out on the lake today, but it looks kind of cloudy, and I don't know if it's cold out there. It looks cold, but I guess it ain't.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Well, I tell you what, let us know what you think about these comparison videos. Like I said, we'll try to get those videos posted, individually so that you guys can see them over the next couple of weeks during the break. Come see us at Good Evening Ranch. No matter how many videos you watch, it does not do it justice. You can look at these videos all day long, and we hear it consistently. People talk about how they've always watched it, and then they show up to an event. People from other side of the states or from other countries, they show up, and they're just like, they're not going at that.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, they actually are, and really fast.
Yeah.
We see it even with people that are helping us clear the courses and stuff and get them cleaned up. It's workers that haven't been involved with the sport and they're just now finding it, and it just blows them away when they look at it and they don't understand that these rigs are going to do it. And then after round one, they come over and talk to him and they're like, yeah, you're right, that's insane.
So bring somebody with you that had never been. That's the most experience. If you want to have fun, not only you have fun, but your person you're going to bring you have fun, because
you smell
like it.
Yeah, you smell the race fuel, you hear the motors, you feel the engines, because these guys are running big horsepower these days. So it's definitely pretty wild. And I guess we're gonna get out of here and enjoy the day.
See ya.
Later.